Ever wondered which American president was the best with money? You might be surprised. We're about to dive into the bank accounts of some of the most powerful men in history, from George Washington to Donald Trump. Leading a country takes brains, charisma, and you know it, a whole lot of cash. We're talking about the presidents who were rolling in dough and the ones who struggled to make ends meet, even while running the country. Who knew being the leader of the free world came with so many financial challenges? Stick around because we're about to reveal the best and worst money managers to ever occupy the Oval Office. You won't believe some of these stories. He diversified his investments, dabbling in everything from whiskey distilling to horse breeding. This guy was like the original entrepreneur. He kept meticulous records of every penny he earned and spent. This financial savvy helped him not only manage his own wealth but also steer the young nation towards economic stability. So next time you see Washington on your dollar, remember, this guy knew how to handle his money. Next up, we've got Thomas Jefferson, the dude who wrote the Declaration of Independence. Brilliant writer, founding father. But let's be real, his relationship with money was complicated. Jefferson, like Washington, inherited a ton of land. We're talking Monticello, his famous estate, and thousands of acres more. But here's the thing, owning land doesn't automatically make you rich. It takes work, and sometimes you run into bad luck. And Jefferson had his fair share of bad luck. He struggled with debt throughout his life, mostly due to crop failures, fluctuating markets, and you know, that whole American Revolution thing putting a damper on the economy. Despite his financial woes, Jefferson believed in fiscal responsibility for the nation. He slashed the national debt during his presidency and promoted policies that he thought would benefit the common man. He reminds us that even the smartest people can struggle with money, and that sometimes, life throws you curveballs you just can't predict. From log cabin to the White House, Abraham Lincoln's story is the epitome of the American dream. But how did Honest Abe handle his finances? Well, it's a story of humble beginnings, hard work, and a surprising amount of frugality. Lincoln grew up poor. He had little formal education and spent his early years working odd jobs to help support his family. He eventually taught himself law, became a successful lawyer, and even served in Congress. But even as his income grew, Lincoln remained notoriously frugal. He was known for his simple clothing, his aversion to fancy dinners, and his habit of walking miles to save a few cents on transportation. As president, he faced the daunting task of financing the Civil War. Lincoln made tough financial decisions, raised taxes, and even established the first income tax in U.S. history to fund the war effort. He signed legislation that created a national banking system and paved the way for economic expansion after the war. He understood the value of hard work, honesty, and putting the needs of the nation above his own. Chapter 4. Theodore Roosevelt, the trust-busting, big-spending Teddy. Next up is Theodore Roosevelt, the Rough Rider and conservationist. Teddy came from money but wasn't afraid to spend it on America. His wealth came from his family's business ventures. As president, he introduced the square deal to regulate big business. He earned the nickname Trustbuster for taking on corporations. Roosevelt was a big spender on the military. He also invested heavily in conservation efforts. Chapter 5. Franklin D. Roosevelt, navigating the Great Depression. FDR led America through the Great Depression and World War II. The Great Depression was a financial catastrophe. FDR promised a new deal for the American people. He implemented programs for relief, recovery, and reform. Social Security, the Civilian Conservation Corps, and the Works Progress Administration. These programs stabilized the economy and provided jobs. FDR wasn't afraid to experiment with economic policies. He also navigated the financial challenges of World War II. His actions changed the role of government in the economy. Chapter 6. John F. Kennedy, the Glamour and the Greenbacks. John F. Kennedy, the youngest elected president, brought an air of glamour and sophistication to the White House. But behind the charisma and the Camelot mystique lay a family fortune and a keen understanding of the power of wealth. The Kennedy family had built their fortune through business and investments, and JFK himself benefited from a substantial trust fund. As president, Kennedy pursued policies aimed at stimulating economic growth and reducing unemployment. He cut taxes, increased government spending, and championed the space race, which created jobs and spurred technological innovation. He also understood the importance of image and used his own personal wealth to enhance the presidency. Kennedy's presidency was tragically cut short, but his legacy as a stylish and charismatic leader endures. He understood the power of wealth, both personal and national, and he used it to advance his vision of a stronger and more just America. Chapter 7. Lyndon B. Johnson. The towering Texan who succeeded JFK was a master politician and a shrewd businessman. He amassed a considerable fortune before entering politics, mostly through his ownership of a Texas radio and television station. Johnson understood the power of communication and used his media savvy to advance his political career. As president, Johnson declared a war on poverty and implemented a wide range of social programs aimed at improving the lives of the poor and disadvantaged. These programs, which included Medicare, Medicaid, and Head Start, required significant government spending but also had a profound impact on American society. Johnson also escalated American involvement in the Vietnam War, a costly and controversial decision that ultimately overshadowed his domestic achievements. Despite his successes in passing landmark legislation, Johnson's presidency was ultimately tarnished by the Vietnam War. He left office with a mixed legacy, a champion of social justice but also a president who had led the country into a divisive and costly war. Chapter 8. Ronald Reagan, the Gipper's Hollywood to the White House finances. Ronald Reagan, the former Hollywood actor who became the 40th president, was a staunch advocate for limited government and free markets. He believed that lower taxes and less regulation would unleash economic growth and prosperity for all Americans. Reagan came to office promising to get government off the backs of the American people. He cut taxes, reduced regulations, and appointed conservative judges to the federal courts. His economic policies, dubbed Reaganomics, were credited with ending a period of high inflation and ushering in an era of economic expansion. However, Reagan's policies also led to a significant increase in the national debt. He cut taxes but also increased military spending, leading to large budget deficits. Reagan's legacy as a president is complex and contested. He is revered by conservatives for his commitment to limited government and his role in ending the Cold War. Chapter 9. Bill Clinton, from Arkansas to global economic powerhouse. Bill Clinton, the charismatic governor of Arkansas who became the 42nd president, presided over a period of economic prosperity and balanced budgets. He embraced a centrist approach to governing, combining traditional democratic concerns for social justice with a more pro-business outlook. Clinton inherited a recession when he took office in 1993. He raised taxes on the wealthy, cut spending, and implemented a series of policies designed to reduce the deficit and stimulate economic growth. Clinton also signed the North American Free Trade Agreement, or NAFTA, a controversial trade deal that eliminated tariffs between the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Clinton left office with high approval ratings and a budget surplus. He is credited with presiding over a period of peace and prosperity, but his legacy is also tarnished by a series of personal scandals, including his impeachment by the House of Representatives for perjury and obstruction of justice. Chapter 10. Donald Trump, the art of the deal in the Oval Office. Donald Trump, the billionaire businessman who became the 45th president, promised to make America great again by bringing his deal-making skills to Washington. He pledged to renegotiate trade deals, cut taxes, and reduce regulations. Trump's economic policies were a mix of traditional Republican orthodoxy and populist appeals. He signed a massive tax cut benefiting corporations and wealthy individuals. He imposed tariffs on goods from China, sparking a trade war. Trump's presidency was marked by constant controversy and upheaval. Trump's presidency ended after losing the 2020 election to Joe Biden. Wow! We've journeyed through history, explored the finances of some of America's most iconic leaders, and uncovered surprising facts about their relationship with money. From Washington's land riches to Trump's business empire, we've seen how their financial decisions shaped their presidencies and impacted the nation. But we want to hear from you. Who do you think was the best with money? Was it the frugal Lincoln, the big spending Roosevelt, or maybe someone else entirely? Let us know your pick for the ultimate presidential money master in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring that notification bell for more mind-blowing content about history, money, and everything in between. See you in the next video.